The Galactic Empire's first contact team stared at their view screens with barely concealed disdain. Admiral Zextal, his crystalline appendages reflecting the soft blue light of the bridge, watched as the Earth vessels approached their position near Jupiter's orbit. The human ships looked almost primitive, blocky, utilitarian constructs that seemed to have been cobbled together from spare parts rather than designed with any aesthetic consideration. "These are their best vessels," Lieutenant Commander Yurka sneered, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with amusement. "They've barely mastered interplanetary travel. Look at those exposed radiator panels and those crude ion engines." Admiral Zextal raised a secondary appendage for silence, but privately agreed with his subordinate's assessment. After centuries of encountering new species across the galaxy, the Empire had developed certain expectations about civilizations worthy of their attention. The humans, with their simplistic spacecraft design, clearly failed to meet those standards. The flagship of humanity's greeting fleet, the UES Prometheus, was particularly underwhelming. Its hull was a patchwork of different materials, thermal tiles sitting next to carbon composite panels in a seemingly random pattern. Hardly the sleek, unified design that marked truly advanced civilizations. "Open a communication channel," Zextal ordered, his crystalline form shifting to its most impressive configuration, a stance reserved for addressing lesser species. "Let's get this formality over with." The human response came quickly, transmitted in clear, precise galactic standard. At least they'd managed to decode that correctly. Captain Sarah Chen's image appeared on the main screen, her expression professional but warm. "Admiral Zextal, on behalf of Earth and humanity, we welcome you to our solar system." Zextal noted with mild surprise that the human captain showed no reaction to his crystalline appearance. Most primitive species usually displayed some form of shock or awe. Perhaps they possessed some basic emotional control after all. "Captain Chen," he replied, his translator converting his harmonic resonances into human speech. "The Galactic Empire acknowledges your greeting. We've come to evaluate Earth's readiness for potential membership in our collective." "We're honored," Chen responded, though something in her tone made Zextal's crystals vibrate with uncertainty. Was that amusement in her voice? Surely not. The Admiral proceeded with the standard diplomatic protocol, though he'd already made his decision. These humans were centuries away from being worthy of Empire membership. Their ships alone demonstrated their technological inferiority. As the formal greetings continued, Zextal's science officer, Dr. Cavalier, approached with a preliminary scan report. "Admiral, there's something odd about their ships. Our sensors are having difficulty penetrating their hulls, despite their apparent simplicity. Interference from their crude power systems, no doubt," Zextal dismissed. "Noted in the report, but it's hardly relevant. We've seen all we need to see." The meeting concluded with the expected pleasantries, though Captain Chen's final words carried that same hint of something Zextal couldn't quite identify. "We look forward to further interactions, Admiral. You'll find humanity full of surprises." As the human ships began their departure maneuvers, Zextal turned to his bridge crew. "Send the standard rejection notice to the Imperial Council. Cite technological inadequacy as the primary reason. These humans aren't ready for membership in the Empire." Lieutenant Commander Yurka's bioluminescence flickered with barely suppressed laughter. "Did you see their propulsion systems? They're still using chemical thrusters for minor course corrections." "Such primitive technology," Zextal agreed, his crystals chiming with amusement. "They'll need centuries to reach our level of advancement." Back on the Prometheus, Captain Chen watched the Imperial ships grow smaller on her view screen. She tapped a seemingly decorative panel on her chair, activating the quantum-encrypted channel to Earth Command. "First contact completed as expected, Command. The Empire has fallen for it completely. They've dismissed us exactly as predicted." The response came back immediately. "Excellent work, Captain. Maintain Phase 1 protocols. Let them keep underestimating us. It's worked for humanity before, and it will work again." Chen smiled, running her hand along her chair's armrest. feeling the nearly undetectable seams that hid some of humanity's most advanced technology. The Empire, like so many others, had just made the mistake of judging a book by its cover. They'd learn eventually. They all did. The Prometheus's seemingly crude exterior hid quantum computers, dark matter drives, and weapons systems that would make the Empire's crystalline technology look like children's toys. But that revelation could wait. For now, humanity would play the role of the primitive species, just as they had planned. After all, history had taught humanity one crucial lesson. Sometimes, the best defense was to be underestimated. 3 months after the Empire's dismissal of Earth's application for membership, the UES Prometheus docked at Lunar Base Alpha, its crude exterior panels sliding apart with quantum precision to reveal the true nature of humanity's flagship. Captain Chen stood in the observation deck, watching as maintenance crews swarmed over the vessel's hull, their quantum-enabled suits allowing them to phase through the outer camouflage layer to access the real systems beneath. "Impressive act, Sarah," Admiral James Rodriguez said, joining her at the window. "The Empire bought our performance completely. Intelligence reports they've classified us as a Class 3 civilization, barely capable of interplanetary travel." Chen smiled, remembering the Imperial Admiral's patronizing tone. If they only knew what they were really looking at. The Prometheus alone could probably take on their entire first contact fleet. "That's the beauty of it," Rodriguez replied, gesturing toward the ship. "They see exactly what we want them to see. 200 years of human warfare taught us one thing. Showing off your true capabilities is the fastest way to start a fight you might not want." Below them, engineers were running diagnostics on the Prometheus's real propulsion system, a dark matter drive capable of bending space-time itself. The ion engines the Empire had observed were merely elaborate props, powered just enough to fool their sensors. "Latest intel suggests they're expanding aggressive into the Orion Arm," Chen reported. 3 species have already been invited to join the Empire in the last standard year. None refused. Rodriguez's expression hardened. "And that's exactly why we maintain this charade. The Empire only respects strength, but they're careless with opponents they consider weak. When they eventually decide to force the issue with Earth, they'll be in for quite a surprise," Chen finished. The Admiral nodded, pulling up a classified holographic display. "Speaking of surprises, have you seen the latest test results from the Perseus project?" The display showed a small device, no larger than a coffee cup, that contained more computing power than the Empire's entire crystalline network. Human quantum technology have taken a different evolutionary path than the Empire's crystalline computers, focusing on efficiency and miniaturization rather than ostentatious displays of technological achievement. "We're at least 3 generations ahead of them in quantum systems," Chen observed, "not that you'd know it from looking at our ships." "That's been humanity's greatest advantage throughout history," Rodriguez said. "Our ancestors learned the hard way that survival often depends on being underestimated. From the guerrilla tactics of ancient warfare to the cyber deceptions of the digital age, we've always known the value of hiding our true strength." A junior officer approached with a secure tablet. "Captain, we've detected Imperial probe ships at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. They're running long-range scans of our system." Chen took the tablet, reviewing the data. "Let them look. All they'll see is what we want them to see. A young species stumbling its way into space, barely able to reach its own solar system's edge." Meanwhile, Rodriguez added, "Our quantum scouts are mapping their entire empire, right under their crystalline noses. Speaking of which, the Phantom Fleet is ready for Phase 2 deployment. Once they're in position, the Empire won't know what hit them." Chen finished, "if it comes to that. Though I still hope it doesn't." Rodriguez gestured to a different section of the Prometheus, where engineers were maintaining its primitive thermal tiles. Beneath each tile lay a network of quantum-entangled particles capable of generating shields far beyond anything the Empire possessed. "Peace through superior deception," he quoted the old Earth defense doctrine. As long as they think we're harmless, we have the advantage. The moment they realize Earth's true capabilities, they'll have to decide whether to accept us as equals or make a very dangerous mistake, Chen said. Based on their history, I'm betting on the mistake. As if to emphasize her point, the Prometheus's outer hull shifted slightly, the seemingly random pattern of materials realigning to better disguise the quantum technology beneath. To Imperial sensors, it would appear as nothing more than routine maintenance on an outdated vessel. Below them, in the hidden heart of Lunar Base Alpha, humanity's real fleet waited. Ships that could outrun, outfight, and outthink anything in the Imperial Armada. But for now, they waited in secret, while humanity played its role of the humble primitive species just beginning to reach for the stars. The Empire's true intentions became clear 3 months later. Admiral Zextal's fleet returned to the Sol system, but this time there was no pretense of diplomatic courtesy. 50 Imperial warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Mars' orbit, their crystalline hulls gleaming with barely contained energy. Primitive species of Earth, Zextal's transmission boomed across all frequencies. The Empire has determined that your system's resources would be better managed under direct Imperial supervision. Submit to Imperial authority, and you will be granted protectorate status. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate the consequences of defiance. In Earth's primary defense command center, buried deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Chen watched the Imperial fleet's formation with General Rodriguez and the rest of Earth's military leadership. The Empire's ships had arranged themselves in a standard subjugation pattern, one they'd used successfully against dozens of other species. They'd brought their entire Third Fleet, one of the analysts reported. Standard Imperial doctrine for subduing pre-spaceflight civilizations. Chen couldn't help but smile. They really think that's enough. Rodriguez nodded to the communications officer. Send our response. The one we prepared. The message was brief, transmitted in deliberately stuttering bursts as if Earth's communication technology was struggling to reach the Imperial fleet. Please, do not. We are peaceful. Need time to discuss. Zextal's response was predictably dismissive. You have one planetary rotation to surrender. Our scans show your orbital defenses are minimal. Do not force us to demonstrate our superiority. As the transmission ended, Rodriguez turned to Chen. Status of the Phantom Fleet. In position, sir. All 30 ships maintaining quantum stealth. The Empire's sensors still can't detect anything beyond our decoy satellites and primitive orbital platforms. The general turned to address the command center. For 200 years, humanity has prepared for this moment. We learned from our own history. The strong prey on those they think are weak. So we may ourselves appear weak. We hid our advances behind false walls of technological inadequacy. And now, he paused as another Imperial transmission came through, this one aimed at Mars Colony, demanding their immediate surrender. The colony's response was appropriately fearful and confused, selling the deception to the very end. Now they think they're dealing with a pre-spaceflight civilization, with barely functional ion drives and chemical rockets. Rodriguez continued. That's exactly what we wanted. That's what we planned for. Chen's console lit up with a priority alert. Sir, they're launching their first wave. 20 ships moving to secure our orbital installations. Right on schedule. Rodriguez nodded. They'll try to take our satellites and orbital platforms first, demonstrate their overwhelming technological superiority. Standard Imperial tactics against primitive species. He turned to Chen. Captain, you have command of the Phantom Fleet. You know what to do. Chen took her place at the quantum-encrypted command console. Around her, the command center hummed with hidden power, technology far beyond anything the Empire could imagine, all disguised as simple 20th-century computer banks to any scanning technology. Phantom Fleet acknowledging command protocols, she reported. All ships maintaining quantum stealth. Weapons primed but cold. Ready to execute Operation Hubris. The Imperial ships moved closer to Earth's orbit, their crystalline hulls pulsing with energy as they prepared to easily sweep aside what they thought was humanity's best defensive technology. They had no idea they were flying into carefully laid trap, their every move predicted by quantum computers that had modeled this encounter a million times. "Let them take the first shot," Rodriguez ordered. "Let them think they've won. That's when we show them humanity's real face." On the main screen, the Imperial fleet began powering up their weapons, preparing to demonstrate their overwhelming superiority against Earth's seemingly primitive defenses. They were about to learn a lesson that countless others throughout human history had learned the hard way. Appearance and reality were often very different things, especially when humans were involved. The first Imperial shot streaked across Earth's orbit, easily destroying a cluster of seemingly vital defense satellites. Admiral Zextal watched with smug satisfaction as the primitive human technology burst into clouds of debris. As expected, he commented to his bridge crew, "Their best orbital defenses are nothing compared to Imperial weaponry. Send the second wave tow." His orders were cut short by an urgent alert from his sensor officer. "Admiral, the debris, it's not registering any mass. They're holograms." Before Zextal could process this information, space itself seemed to ripple around his fleet. 30 ships materialized out of nowhere, their sleek hulls bearing no resemblance to the crude vessels humanity had shown the Empire. The Phantom fleet had dropped its quantum stealth. "Impossible," Zextal whispered, his crystalline form vibrating with shock. "Their technology. It can't be." "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force." A familiar voice transmitted across the Imperial command channel. "We gave you every chance to see past your own arrogance. You chose to see what you expected to see, a primitive species ready for conquest. That was your mistake." The Phantom fleet's first response wasn't weapons fire, it was information. Quantum data streams pierced the Imperial ship's crystalline computers, downloading the entire history of human warfare. Centuries of lessons learned in deception, misdirection, and the art of appearing weak when you are strong. "By all means," Chen continued, "review that data. You'll find humanity has quite a lot of experience dealing with empires who underestimate us." On the Imperial flagship's bridge, Zextal watched in horror as readings poured in about the human ship's true capabilities. Dark matter drives that bent space itself. Quantum-entangled weapon systems that could bypass any known defense. Computing power that made Imperial crystalline technology look primitive in comparison. "Your entire fleet," Chen explained calmly, "has been sitting in a quantum probability field since you arrived. We could have destroyed you the moment you entered our system, but we wanted to give you a chance to learn from this encounter." To demonstrate her point, 3 human ships executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, instantly teleporting to surround Zextal's flagship. Their weapons remained cold, but the message was clear. The Empire's technological superiority had been an illusion. "Those crude ships you mocked during first contact," Chen continued, "the ones with primitive ion engines and exposed thermal panels. They could each outfight your entire fleet. We just didn't feel the need to show off." Rodriguez's voice joined the channel. "This is General Rodriguez of Earth Command. Your fleet has 2 options: immediate withdrawal from the Sol system, or surrender and face internment. You have 5 minutes to decide." In the stunned silence that followed, Zextal's tactical officer managed to find his voice. "Admiral, analyzing their capabilities, the humans, they're not just ahead of us. What we're seeing, it's beyond anything in Imperial records." "How?" Zextal demanded. "How did we miss this? Their ships, their technology." "Because you saw what you expected to see," Chen answered. "Humanity learned long ago that true power doesn't need to be displayed. We've spent centuries perfecting the art of hiding our strength, knowing that someday someone like you would come along." The Phantom fleet began a complex dance around the Imperial ships, their movements demonstrating complete mastery of space-time manipulation. Each maneuver revealed another layer of technology that the Empire had never dreamed possible. 4 minutes remaining, Rodriguez announced calmly. I suggest you choose wisely. The Empire isn't the first to underestimate humanity, but you have the opportunity to be one of the few who learned from that mistake without paying the ultimate price. Zextal stared at his fleet's tactical display, watching as everything he thought he knew about technological superiority crumbled. The humans hadn't just deceived them. They had orchestrated this entire encounter, playing on the Empire's arrogance to teach them a lesson they wouldn't soon forget. 3 months later, the halls of the Imperial High Council echoed with heated debate. Admiral Zextal stood before the assembled council members, his crystalline form still showing stress fractures from the encounter with humanity. The recording of Earth's revelation played one final time before the council. The humans didn't just defeat us, Zextal concluded his report. They changed everything we thought we knew about technological advancement. While we built our ships bigger and more impressive, they focused on efficiency and deception. While we display our power openly, they hid theirs beneath false surfaces. High Counselor Vertax leaned forward, her crystalline matrix pulsing with concern. And you believe they could have destroyed your entire fleet at any moment? Without question, Zextal responded. Their quantum probability fields had us trapped the moment we entered their system. They chose to teach rather than destroy. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For millennia, the Empire had expanded through the galaxy, confident in their technological superiority. Now they had encountered a species that had not only surpassed them, but had done so in complete secrecy. They've sent us a formal communication, announced First Speaker Kirillin, activating a holographic display. Captain Chen's image appeared before the council, her expression professional, but carrying that same hint of subtle amusement that had so confused Zextal during their first meeting. Greetings, Imperial Council, she began. By now, you understand that humanity's capabilities far exceed your initial assessment. We could have demonstrated this during first contact, but that would have been inefficient. Instead, we showed you something far more valuable. The danger of assuming technological advancement must follow your expectations. The council members shifted uncomfortably as Chen continued. We're willing to establish diplomatic relations with the Empire, not as a subordinate species, but as equals. More importantly, we're offering to help you understand where your own technological development has stagnated due to your focus on appearance over function. First Speaker Kirillin turned to address the council. The humans have already provided proof of their good faith. Their quantum computing insights alone could advance our technology by centuries. But can we trust them? Demanded one of the younger council members. After such elaborate deception, Zextal surprised himself by speaking up. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they chose to educate us. That's not the action of an untrustworthy species. It's the action of a potential ally who saw past our arrogance to what we could become. The debate continued for hours, but in the end, the decision was unanimous. The Empire would accept humanity's offer of diplomatic relations and technological exchange. More importantly, they would begin a comprehensive review of their own technological development, questioning the assumptions that had led them to value appearance over function. 1 year later, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly established Earth Embassy on the Imperial Capital World. Beside her, Admiral Zextal's crystalline form had been modified with human quantum technology, making it more efficient while maintaining its aesthetic beauty. The integration of our technologies has exceeded all expectations, Zextal noted. Who would have thought that combining your quantum systems with our crystalline matrices would produce such remarkable results? Chen smiled. That's what happens when you look past surface appearances. Sometimes the most primitive-looking solution is actually the most advanced. A lesson my people won't soon forget, Zextal agreed. Though I must ask, why maintain the deception for so long? Why not simply demonstrate your superiority from the beginning? Because true strength isn't about domination, Chen replied. It's about knowing when and how to use your power. Humanity learned that lesson through centuries of warfare and conflict. We wanted to give the Empire a chance to learn it without paying the same price we did. Below them, a new generation of ships was taking shape in the Imperial shipyards, vessels that combined the best of both civilizations' technologies. They were beautiful but not ostentatious, powerful but not wasteful. Each one was a testament to the lesson humanity had taught the Empire. True advancement comes not from displaying your strength, but from knowing how to use it wisely. The galaxy is changing, Zextal observed. Other species are beginning to question their own assumptions about technological progress. Good, Chen nodded, because there are things out there far more dangerous than either of our civilizations. That's why we chose to teach rather than conquer. The galaxy needs allies who understand that appearance and reality aren't always the same thing. As they watched the ships below, both leaders knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had not only shattered the Empire's pride, they had helped forge it into something better. And in doing so, they had changed the course of galactic history, not through force of arms, but through the subtle power of letting others underestimate them until the perfect moment to reveal the truth.